very important personality here today that has agreed to start up this show with me. He's a big data engineer. He also owns a business where he trains people to get into the tech industry. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Gabriel Olokunwolu.
Hey.
Hi, thank you so much for coming in. Happy to see you. How was your flight?
It was great. It was great. 3-hour flight, so it wasn't that bad.
Oh wow, thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Why did you move to Texas? Because I know you used to live in New York.
I love space, so I think the space is space for me. Yeah.
Great. What did you miss about New York?
Not a lot because when I was in New York, I was always indoors anyway. So
right.
Yeah, it was just
right. By the way, congratulations on your wedding. It was in Togo Town.
So much.
And your wife is a beautiful dancer.
Oh, really?
I should take classes. Like, I've never met a Nigerian like me that doesn't even know how to do that. That's the bare minimum.
Thank you so much.
She dances professionally, right?
Not professionally, but she dances like at some point she was doing a lot of dancing, and now she still does it. She does like dance, fitness, all of that.
She dances well. She should train people on this.
Well,
everybody wants to learn how to dance. It's like the culture now. Everybody wants to dance the Afrobeat and all that. So it's good when she dances really good. So talking about your wedding, was it difficult planning a wedding, Nigerian wedding in the United States? You know, because I know there are like so many rules that you have to go through if you're doing that in Nigeria.
From the grand scheme of things, it's really difficult. But for me, it wasn't that difficult. So I have a great sister-in-law, and I'm shouting her out on the show.
We shout out to you.
Yeah. She did like a lot. She actually just took everything upon herself.
Wow.
You guys don't have to worry about this. I got it. Everything. I got the support I needed. So it wasn't too much for my own part. I just had to show up, not show up necessarily.
Right.
Of course,
and put the money down.
But it was good.
Wow.
For me, it wasn't like that crazy. Yeah.
Just a little bit about your career. Like, what exactly do you do? Like, what's your profession?
So right now, one thing about me is if we talk like maybe in another 2 years now, I can tell you I'm doing something else. So I'm like a moving train. So for now, I'm currently a big data engineer with a concentration around machine learning. And prior to that, I was a cloud engineer. I was doing a lot of cloud engineering stuff.
So why did you go into the IT field? Was it about better pay, or you just wanted a good job and you feel that's your interest?
Originally, I'm a very practical person. So I did economics in college.
Oh really?
Yeah. I wanted to do my PhD in economics and do research and be a professor. Those kind of things, fancy stuff. But
wow.
Yeah, but when I did not get accepted to the PhD program I wanted, which was Columbia University. And so I just said, I just said, I'm just going to do my master's and at some point, apply for a PhD. So when I was close to the end of my master's program, I found out economics, and this is not to put economics down, but I found out economics had so much of theoretical concepts. A lot of things were not practical.
Right.
But I was sort of fortunate to actually do a lot of coding in my economics program. In data analytics, and so I felt like that looked a little more practical to me because I had the data set I was working with. I was seeing the results right away. I started thinking. I spoke to my professor then, and that's shout out to Professor Foster. He sort of like put me through and gave me like a background. You can actually get a career in data, and then that was how I got into data.
Wow.
So I started from New York City, then, and I was doing coding in data, and then I transition out of that into more stuff that had to do with IT.
Wow, that's great. Was it immediately you finished your PhD? Was that a master's
degree?
No,
I did a master's, yes.
Was it when you finished your master's degree? Was that when you got a job immediately, or what was the job?
So I got not immediately. I think my last semester I was just randomly applying because I was scared, like, well, I'm gonna finish this degree and then I'm probably not gonna get a job because I had no experience. So I was looking for experience. No, I was looking for a job after I was done in college. So I didn't get a job because I had no experience.
Right.
So I thought in my head that what I should do is to get a master's. Before my last semester, I just started applying, and I put like some of the things I did in my program, like the data analytics, and then someone in New York City HRA, they reached out to me if I could be like they call it a business admin analyst, something like that. So I got into that, and that was how I started my
the New York State
data career. And
that's great.
Yeah.
How was the transition from being a business data analyst to being a big data engineer now?
So the transition had the cloud engineer joined in between it, and then me transitioning into cloud engineering came from I took a certification exam, but prior to that I had a lot of things about cloud, AWS. I was very curious about it. I'm a very curious person, and for one thing, I felt like for me to advance, I need to get into cloud, because cloud was a big thing then. This was around 2018. It was really booming. Like I saw a lot of the data set I was working with, they were using them in cloud. So I'm like, why should I not learn cloud? So I did a certification then, and then that was like my breakthrough. So I got into I got called by World Wrestling Entertainment. The recruiting guy there called me after I did my certification. I uploaded my resume, and then I put everything I had learned and relative to my data too. So they interviewed me. I went all the way to Stanford, did like a 6-step interview in a day, and that was my breakthrough into cloud. And then I started from there, and then I picked interest in the data part of cloud.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I won't call that lucky. I will call that actually working for it, because you had started from the scratch and you understood what you were doing. You knew what you were going for. So it was good timing. Alright, so I really don't want to go into this, but we have to, guys. There was a time that I seen your post online about when you traveled to Nigeria. We're talking about Nigeria, so let's dive into it. And I think you had a situation, I don't know, was it with the police people or the SAS people? I think that's an experience that I want to hear it from the horses now.
It was around 11 p.m., so we're going back. And on our way back, we had 2 Ubers. They went with the first one, then it was my turn to start going. And then it was me and my other guy. So when we had barely made 0.5 miles when we saw these policemen saying, stop. In my head, I'm like, it's normal.
It's a regular thing.
And, they took it a little serious, and they were like, everyone calm down. In my head, I'm like, what is the point of coming down when, we're Uber? So we came down, the Uber driver came down, and, immediately he started yelling for no reason. I came back to my Nigerian sense, because I didn't want to start thinking, that's ridiculous.
How long have you been away from Nigeria before that time?
7 years.
So you haven't been there 7 years, so you probably
5 years, because I went 2 years after I came, then another year, so 5 years.
Right. Yeah. So then you now brought it back one day.
Yeah, I had to reset myself to my Nigerian. God, it's not this serious now. We're just coming to get food, and it was like, what do you do and all that stuff. And then while he was questioning us, he told the Uber driver to leave. Then at that point I knew, okay, there's a problem.
They don't
because at this point, even if they let us go, we had to find Uber. It was 11, was getting back. And me, I don't know about any other person. When I see gun, I don't argue. I don't try to, I don't play with my life basically. So I had my phone on me, and then he was saying, my other friend was having interaction with other people, and it was like, can you identify yourself? Where are you from? Blah blah blah. The only thing I had on me was my license, which was my New York license. So it took my license, and saw it, was like, oh, okay. And
so now it was like,
guys, come on. I'm like.
And probably because you had your laptop too.
Yeah, I had my laptop in my bag. But for funny enough, he didn't even open the laptop. So he said I'm a scammer. I'm like, I'm not a scammer. I don't understand what you're saying. I just came for my friends. I didn't believe you. I came for my friends' event, and that's all. I'm just going back home. And he was like, okay, open your phone. That's my work phone. I was so hesitant to open the phone, because I was working at World Wrestling then, and I'm like,
information.
I don't want you to check information about my work and all that stuff. He just said, no, you have to open it, and then he pointed the gun at me, opened the phone, started looking through few messages, and I think he checked my other phone, he checked WhatsApp, and he went to search for dollars.
It's the audacity for
First
me.
of all, I mean, let's say you even have the warrant to check my WhatsApp. I live in the United States. How on earth would I not have dollars as a search word? That was when I knew, this is actually crazy. So I told him. So he said, okay. He said, he was telling the other guy like, we have, an evidence. He's actually having interaction with people talking about dollars.
No.
I said, I don't live here. He was like, no, you're a scammer in the United States. I'm like, okay. So at the end of the day, we started.
This is called ignorance.
It's crazy. And I told him, I said, can you, because I just needed to make a phone call. I know people I would call and they would just explain to them and maybe I'll just go about it. So he wasn't even trying to listen to me, and then before you knew it, they pushed us into this van. And this was like 12 a.m. And then in that van, they were like, all the people that, I don't know wherever they were, they were just there. Yeah, they picked them up too. And then everyone was begging. But me, I didn't know what to beg for.
Like, you didn't do nothing. Yeah.
So they said, okay, we're going to head over to somewhere, I don't know wherever they call it. We're heading to somewhere around Yaba from Lagos Island. And then they started driving. And I was like, yo, I didn't do anything to you guys. Like, where are you guys taking me to? Let me just calm down. Like, okay, what do you guys want from me? And it was like, we just have to go to the police station. I'm going to explain myself there. Like, I'm a scammer. I'm like, I'm not a scammer. But the thing I know is that no matter what, even when they get me to that place, whatever the case may be, there was no how. I had every proof to identify that I don't know everything.
So that gave you that much confidence.
It gave me that confidence. The only thing I was just scared of is I don't want them to probably shoot me or something like that, because I've had cases like that. So they took me there and they asked me to sit on the floor. At that point I'm like, you know what, today is today. And my phone was blowing up, the battery was about to die. And it got to a point they were even asking me if I had a bank application here, and I had one, but for some reason I think the phone died, so they couldn't get it. They gave me a charger to even charge the phone, just so I can I sat down there for like hours. Then they started saying, you are going to, someone called me up. He was like, okay, you know what's going on now, right? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It was like, you are going to have to pay your way out of this place. I'm like, pay for what? And it was like, I don't know, but do you have a bank account here? I'm like, I'm not from here. I don't have a bank account here. I even had to twist it that my company brought me here, so that way maybe that could make sense to them. But they were like, no, we can just go back, figure it out. So I think 2 hours later, they came to pick me again, and they said they're going to another police station. And then I'm like, why? This is like 2 a.m. My friends were.
What was going through your mind all this time?
Honestly, I was at the point where, at times you get to a point of frustration where you're just there like, you know what, it's whatever. I mean, what will happen after this? So they took me again and they started driving. They said, you are going to Kirikiri. I'm like, I know even if they take me there, maybe the second day,
you have to give it to charge you for something.
The only thing that was painful was they didn't let me make a call to people I could call. So they started driving me again, and they started asking about what I do, like, am I sure I don't scam, and blah, blah, blah. They have evidence that, all they were trying to do was to convince me to say I scam, so they can now
use that
against me and maybe make me pay like $1 million or whatever that
was. But we're not doing that.
But I would definitely not admit to that.
Right.
So they were taking me towards Lagos Island, and this time, I've never seen how, it's like the highest height of unprofessionalism for them, because they had their guns, because I was in the middle, they had their guns on my leg, and I was just there like, I just wanted to get out of, at some point, I wanted to beg, but I'm like, okay, let me just wait some more minutes and see what they wanted to do.
Right.
So they started cursing me and all of this, because truthfully I had no money on me. I depend on my friends to.
Well, you just landed and you probably have dollars. So
exactly, and I'm not giving you dollars.
You're not doing that.
So they eventually took me towards around the Oniru, but this time around maybe I think there was a bank, but it was really dark. And then the guy was just like, you know what, get out. I think he said one word, some profane word I can't remember. So they pushed me down, and they just drove off. And then I was just in the middle of this dark
Did they give you back your phone and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, I took my, no, I had my, they were not going.
They just check and give it back to you.
It was immediate. I booked my flight that day, and then I left. Like then when I literally took my box.
Like I'm out. Let's go. Wow. For those of you that don't know, is that the SAS? That's the Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Nigeria, and that was the whole situation we had with police brutality about last year, that the people had a protest about it, and you know, rest in peace to all the people that lost their life during this protest. You're in a better place. I just hope that the Nigerian government look into this situation and do something about it, you know, because it's sad when I have to go back to my home country and I have to experience such situation. Like, it's nothing good, but in that light, we have some little Nigerian culture here to spice things a little bit. Since we're talking about Nigeria, this is palm wine. Yeah. I'm trying to get you to do more. Yeah, and you have changing. That's what we're going to be doing here. I love my country. I go to Nigeria like every year. I love to be there. I love the people. I love the food and stuff like that. Do you miss Nigeria? Do you want to go back to Nigeria because of that? I mean,
I do miss Nigeria. I'm going to be very honest. And when I say I miss Nigeria, I'm talking about the people, the weather, the food, and just. I don't know, there's just something about being there, like...
Tell me about December, dead to December. Obviously, that's one thing, like I always want to be in Nigeria during December time. And then the Owambe is like, it's the real Nigerian, but the Nigerian jollof rice. So, how long have you been living in the United States?
It's going to be like a little over 9 years now.
Wow.
Because I came September 2012. So that's about 9 years right here.
Oh, that's
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been but I mean, you've done so well for yourself, and we are proud of you. So that's a good thing to have been here in such a little time and being able to get all this great achievement. Like, kudos to you.
Yes.
So basically, do you have family members back in Nigeria? Because you said that your mom is here, your dad is here, and your other two siblings, like extended families and all that.
Yeah, I have a lot of extended families.
So how do you relate with the extended family in Nigeria? And sometimes we get a little caught up with people like, America go back, so send them money back home, stuff like that. How do you go?
I don't even, honestly, for me, like the people I really have to relate with the most are my cousins, right? So most of my cousins, I have about 3 cousins that are actually, I put them into tech too, so we sort of like have some point conversation, and then we work together, and then they help me out with like few things I have to do, like I have like a virtual personal assistant, and that's my cousin from Nigeria.
That's great.
So we sort of like
talking about family that stand together.
Oh, definitely.
That's a good thing, because family is key. Like a lot of people underestimate the relationship and the love, the good with our family. I have my family around, and I love and appreciate each and every one of them. Were you a nerd in school, and were you like ignoring girls? Did you go to like African parties? Did you associate yourself with other immigrants like yourself? Like, how was that situation being an immigrant?
So it was different for me here, because when I came, I was like, I think 2021. So I didn't grow up here, so I didn't have like a lot of friends. So my friends were mostly in college.
Right.
So being a nerd, I would say maybe for an American, maybe I might be a nerd. And the reason is because I was coming from Nigeria, where to get a C, you have to walk your life, you have to go crazy. So I was reading like, I remember my second semester, I was like on a 4.0, like all through like second, third, and I have a really strong GPA. I'm not going to say it, but it's really strong, very good GPA.
That's what's up.
Because I was reading too much, and I mean, it wasn't until like my final year that I felt like maybe I was probably doing the most. It wasn't necessarily like about the grades, but about getting the experience or whatnot. But yeah, I had like a routine of, I wasn't too social. I was just doing my book, studying, then I was playing instruments. So that's sort of like kept a little balance. Then I had, I started making few friends that were Nigerians. So, you know, maybe every now and then, but you will not see me outside like partying.
I'm so you were
not because it's bad, but because I'm not. No.
So you didn't.
Well, I did. Well, I wasn't in any serious relationship until maybe like my third year of college. Then I felt like I was, you know, I was like,
okay, I'll build my GPA to an extent. That's the discipline.
But then,
and then you started. It's like we had the party, Africa, Calabash, and Co. I mean, I was in California for a while. I moved down here, and when I first came, the parties were like on it. So yeah. But I think the very first time I, you know, heard about you, saw something about you was. I was on Instagram and then I saw some of your skits out there.
Oh, long time.
Guys, Gabriel is really funny, like, you know, and you had so many skits out there. Honestly, I think I'm going to have to add one of this to show people that don't know you. They only see the big data guy now. So then, was that like something that you just love doing, the comedy part?
Honestly, it was really just for fun, one, and then two, I think I was just, honestly, the thing is when you have so much time on your hands, trust me, you would just find a way to burn the time. I felt like, oh, you know, I can be funny, so I wanted to like
so that was it.
Funny stuff, and maybe to actually pull some traffic to my page.
And I think that it worked.
And I use it now.
And that's good. When people don't know what your skill or your talent where it can get you, they underestimate all those things, but it takes you somewhere, and you know, sometimes you gotta invest in it and just go extra miles to get yourself out there.
Yep.
So why did you stop?
I stopped because I didn't have time again.
Gotcha.
Truthfully, like I was so busy that
it's not easy to be in data, playful, and doing all that.
And it is not easy to also do those Instagram skits. Trust me, it takes time. You have to set up camera. You have to be consistent with it to get traffic. You have to. So I could not combine that
with your job. Wow. So that's you mentioned there that where you were in school, you also played the instrument. And now I seen your videos, you play the saxophone.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
No.
That's really beautiful. I'm like, this guy is just a jack of all trades. I love that. It's still the Lego sense. So did you learn that yourself?
I learned that with the help of my friend in Nigeria actually. So he was before consistently like a year. Consistently we were having like WhatsApp video calls. He was showing me stuff.
It's your dedication for me.
Oh yeah, dedication is always
like it's not just about saxophone. I think I've seen that with everything. So with your career, the skills, like whatever you do, you put your mind to it, and I think that's a very important thing that people have to learn now. Whatever it is that you pick that you want to do, make sure you put all your all in it. Like what's there to lose?
It's like a life hack. Like once it works for everything, across everything, whatever you want to do, it works.
So that's good. So how long have you been playing?
The saxophone I've been playing it for like 2 years now. I think 2 years.
I also see you like you serenade couples.
Oh yeah, I really do love that. Yeah, playing for people in love, you know. It's dope.
I'm still coming back to how immigrant come into the country and they feel like just. You can't do anything just because I don't have the degree or whatever. If you have a skill, if you have a talent, you can build on that. Go to event. I think you also play for your church. Some churches also pay people to have their,
churches pay people.
So like there are things that you can actually do while you probably wait to get to that situation where you probably get that right job to like put your feet on the ground. So a lot of people don't know this, but when you communicate with people, when you network, you learn stuff. You don't just stay amongst your own set of people. And just like people who's like, oh, because I struggle, you have to struggle. So you have to get yourself out there and get to where you want to go to. So that's a good one. So what are your thoughts on career opportunities for immigrants in America?
Career opportunity, my take on that is that there's information. People don't have information, and because people don't have information, they are not connecting to the right places. People are lowballing themselves, especially we black people that are immigrants. Like you can actually get, a lot of people do jobs they pay $100,000 for a year, and then a white person will do that job and get paid $180,000, and then you still feel like, oh my God, this is a lot of money. But the truth is, if you know, I don't want to say know your rights, but if you really like know what you should know and ask the right question and then don't feel suppressed, honestly, there are so much opportunities out there, and that's one of my goals, to actually train people to a point that you are so confident in your skill that you can actually name whatever you want for any employer to act, and your skill set are very, very, in high demand, and they're very desirable. So information is actually very key, like connecting with the right people. Networking.
I can't stress that enough.
Networking, it's very, very important. People don't know a lot of things that they should know. I think that's something that has affected people. Today, some people, when you tell them you can make $120 an hour without a degree, they don't believe. They think it's a lie. So it's not a thing to them, and it's like, why?
Ignorance is not an excuse. Get yourself out there, communicate, talk to people, like get the people that can actually help you in your life. And so, in terms of the job search, like you said, getting information and all that, what would you advise people? Like, did you have to use an agency? Because I know a lot of people go through an agency to get the job, then they help them with resume. Or did you have to go through this job search website like Indeed and so on? And what are your take on that?
So my take on that, and I'm actually working with a team. I mean, of course, I really cannot disclose some things, but I'm working with a team right now on something that would actually help people with like job, especially without a black.
Oh, that's good.
I'm hoping it's probably going to be launching around the time, maybe when this video is, and
right. And that would be nice. We
that's
part of the link around. So this is information
exactly.
too. See? We try to help the people. That's what this show is about. Like
exactly.
You gotta stay tuned. You're gonna be getting you all the information that you need to get you to that place that you can be a successful immigrant in the United States. So.
And that's part of the things, to actually look for the loopholes and what people are missing out when it comes to getting a job and putting their resume out. I think in terms of getting a job, I really would not worry too much about whether an agency is reaching out to you or a direct company is reaching out to you. And that's because most people are trying to break into the field. They want the first experience. Your first experience is pretty much your breakthrough. So once you can get that first experience, that's why I tell people, your first experience you might have to take a pay cut, meaning other people might be making $80 an hour for that role, and if they offer you $40 an hour, don't worry. Just get yourself into it, and then once you get yourself into it, that will be the breakthrough, because you can literally go from like 40 an hour to like 120 an hour. You know what you're doing. So I always say that pay cut is important. Be ready for a pay cut. Then after your pay cut, start getting information and then applying to more things, and then shoot for better stuff. Of course, while knowing your stuff, and then you have to search through the job websites. Look for your job title you want to do. Look for the top 5 skill set they ask. You can actually do something like a skim through and sort of like take a note of. If there are certain skill set you keep seeing over and over again that you would know, this you cannot avoid it. So get those skill set in the bag, and then make sure you actually study for them and know them. And another thing is go to LinkedIn. I feel like LinkedIn is so underrated. Like, search for people that do what you do.
A friend was also telling me about LinkedIn. Like
the algorithm, the way they do LinkedIn is like, it has an algorithm that looks at the people you're following or the people you're connecting with, then searches for like recruiters that are recruiting in that area. It's machine learning. Like, they have a way of getting those information, and then those recruiters will see you on their feed because of that. I'm a data engineer. If I go to my LinkedIn now and I add 50 nurses, 25 pharmacists, 80 doctors on my LinkedIn, guess who's going to be hitting me up? It's only people that are recruiting for nursing agencies that will hitting me up. So it's important to clean up your connection and make sure they are in line with people that do what you do. With your
career, so that
it works like magic.
To get a job.
Exactly.
To show people, wow,
exactly.
That's a gem right there.
That is. And you can also take advantage, and they are saying you can take advantage of the LinkedIn free trial for a month. So that will give you within 1 month, a lot can happen. Take advantage of that. There are certain people, like directors and companies, you cannot send messages to with your plain LinkedIn, with your regular LinkedIn. So if you have the LinkedIn Premium, you can actually send message to anybody and just sort of like sell yourself. Have like this, introductory statement about yourself, paste it somewhere, have it as a template and just continuously keep sending it around, and remember to constantly free trials.
So I was gonna ask you, when you were going through your job interviews for your job, what would you consider it to be? Would you say it was hard? Would you say it was easy? Or did you have to study extra hard for each of the interviews just to get you to that stage?
So there are different categories of people. People that have never done something before, that they're trying to get into it, that is tough, I'm not going to lie. Because you now have to rely on studying the project you've done to defend yourself in something. Now for people that are already in the field and in a career and are just trying to get another job, it's sort of easy, because if you ask me about what I do now, every day, I wake up 9 a.m., I start my whatever, check Nigeria, I code, I do whatever, I'm building a pipeline. There's no how you ask me about these things that I would not express myself enough. It's tough and it's not tough. And the reason it will be tough is when you don't actually understand what you need to, like the things that are very important about interviewing. First of all, when you're interviewing, at least in the United States, from what I've seen, a lot of people don't want you to be too formal and too structured. Like I feel like people going to interviews sounding like robots. Like try to be yourself. Relax. They love the fact that, most people that, at least for the tech, space, they love, no one really cares about your English, especially if you're trying to get into tech, as long as you understand workflow of things. And whenever you're explaining concept to people, you have to try as much as possible to not be vague. You do something, say what you do and explain how you did it. Don't say, oh, I did some stuff, like what is stuff? You have to actually explain yourself. So those are part of the things they look at. Another thing is, if you don't know something, don't try to finesse your way around it. Rather, what you should do is to, if you're asking me now, for instance, hey, Mr. Gabriel, I see your resume, you said, Excel. Oh, it looks like you must have built like great functions in Excel. Do you know about pivot table? Let's say you don't know pivot table, which I doubt you should know pivot table if you are learning Excel. You can say, well, I don't know pivot tables, but I have done this, right? So that means you actually don't know what they're saying, but you're finding something similar to that concept, just to let them know. Okay, well, I don't know Jira, but I know another project management tool. So that way it gives them a sense of the fact, like
you have an idea.
You have an idea of what you're talking about, and you just have to pick it up. So that's one thing. And always show them you're willing to learn. So they love it when you're actually open to learning. So it's not really about what you know, but what you're willing to know. And another thing that I think is very important is, do you have a question for us? Yes, you do. You don't want to say you don't have questions. So that's one of the things that kills people that say, like, ask questions. I have about 10 list of questions that I think you can ask your interviewer. I think I put it together at some point. Once again, I'm still going to get that to you, to keep anyone that is willing to.
Thank you. Examples of those questions, like one or two.
Okay, one of the questions you can actually ask an interviewer that is really good is, what is your work-life balance like at this role? Honestly, if I was interviewing you and you're asking me that, you know what it means to me? It means you want to know more about, you want to see you want to see how I balance my life. I feel good because it makes me brag a little bit about, I can now try to tell you, oh, I play music to balance up my life. Then you see me as being, oh, you play music, that's cool. Maybe you play music too. Then you can now have a conversation around music, and then
the atmosphere is even easier to connect.
Exactly. And another mistake people make when you start an interview, don't just sit there and wait for them to start. If you see any little chance, you can just ask them, like, oh, how's the weather like at your place today? Most times it's either really hot or really cold. Most times in this America. Oh, I'm in Texas. Oh, Texas is really warm. Trust me, he's going to talk about, except he's a miserable person. Whoever that is going to try to talk about wherever they are, how the weather is and the cool places. And guess what? Maybe you're even in the same town. And then I've been in an interview where I told the guy, oh, blah, 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 I'm in Dallas. He was like, you're in Dallas? I'm in Dallas too. We're in Dallas. And for the next 25 minutes, we spoke about Dallas area. And then we had
breaking the ice.
Yeah. And then we had the remaining maybe 15, 20 minutes to talk about what we really wanted to talk about. So a lot of times it's not even about the skill set. They're just looking for people that can be humans, that are very, that you can engage in conversations. They just want to see how sociable you are. Do you fit into our team? Kind of thing. Yeah, so it's not about the knowledge.
Wow.
Most times,
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I believe That's one of the secrets that we're here to give to help you move into the next career stage in your life, and we'll be getting more information across to you. So are you like the way you talk about your job, you're like so passionate about it. Are you very happy with your job?
I'm very, very happy with my job. I love my job so much that I think my wife fights me like, yo, you need to take a break. Chill, calm down.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think it's just a me thing,
Right.
Like I try to just, whatever I do, I want to make sure I enjoy it and then because that's
but
what
that thing,
right?
they must probably pay you fortune too.
I mean,
so what's like your salary range type of, like, would you say you're in the 6 figures or the 7 figures?
7 figures? No, there's no way I can be.
You just don't want to tell me.
There's no way I can be.
Alright. So can you just okay. I'll ask them, right? So can you buy like 2 to 3 Tesla with your salary?
I don't even know how much a Tesla.
And then okay, just the idea of what a Tesla looks when you bring your Tesla in here. I probably want to take some pictures with a Tesla. So like,
you see, the scary thing about what you're saying is that people that need to help me, they're not thinking that the one that can help them.
I mean, I'm just going to take that as I can buy a Tesla. I like that. I think I have to sign up for this show because it's a Cider Tech. Right? Because I know you have a learning institute. Tell me a little bit about Cider Tech and what you do.
So Cider Tech is an organization that came up as a result of me trying to help other people, and when it was a lot of people that I could not take huge volume of people to teach. So what I did was I thought about, why don't I just have a structure where I have I hire people teaching those courses and then giving the standard of what I want. For example, we have classes in, like, I don't call them classes because I don't want them to sound too college, so I call them like trainings, and they are actually hands-on trainings in cloud engineering, data analytics, product management. What else do we have? And Python, because Python is part of using languages to code and all that. And then the way this is made is such a way that we're looking at what is in demand in the market for like labors, in terms of like tech labors, and then we make sure like most of those courses are covering those things. And another thing you get from being in the course is the fact that you can actually the instructors or the trainers actually give you resumes. So like they help you out, give you a resume template, show you.
Very important, because if you have your skill set and you don't know how to sell yourself, it's like you just be getting rejected and that's it.
So that structure is in place, and then they also create like a handout for interview prep.
Oh, great!
Show you example interview questions, how to answer them, and then we are even trying to like prepare people, like do mock interviews for people now, and that's one of the things.
So you build your confidence.
Exactly. And another thing I am doing is, like, after a while I found out that people were actually learning, they know stuff, but now experience is getting to be a big deal. So I created something called like cloud reality. So what cloud reality is all about is just a place where you're not coming in that you don't know anything. You're coming in because you already know stuff, but the problem is I don't have experience. So now what that does is we create like a real life work environment, and people are just doing projects. So, and right now we're growing, the network is getting bigger, and then we have like a standard agile practice, we have like a Scrum team, we have a data team, we're building a software engineering team, we have a solid cloud infrastructure team. They're building different things. You're trying to build infrastructure to build applications and all this stuff, such that when they get to an interview, they talk about what they've done, not what they've read.
It's like real life experiences, and you want to know what you've done. I think in most interviews now, they ask you, what project have you worked on in the past? So that way, if you've done something with Cider Tech that you work on, you can just show them, this is my project, I worked on this, and guess what? You get the job.
And even I made sure, like, a lot of them, they will document the projects on like GitHub, GitLab, to make sure that you can have a link to whatever you want.
So you just
more like building a portfolio for the most part. Yeah.
This is good.
It's amazing. It's amazing,
right.
guys. Like,
wow.
So, and that program is free.
There's this question that a lot of people want to go into tech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more familiar and I know so, but just for other people that don't know about it, they tend to have difficulty in picking a domain. Everybody's hearing, they don't know, should I go into analytics part? Should I go into cloud engineering, programming? They can't find, they don't understand the difference between this. That when I say IT, it's broad.
Yeah.
Everything is just cloud computing, or it's just data analytics. So how do you get people to understand that aspect?
So the thing is, okay, so if you ever want to get into IT, first of all, be ready to do little research. As little as it can be, should just be going to Google. Like, you should also know your strengths. So, for example, and there are some things that if you really want to go with your mindset telling you, oh, I don't think you can code, I don't think you can do this, that's probably your mind just, deceiving you, like, you're just maybe, or just a little lazy mentality. So you have to be careful of actually understanding what you really want. And when they say tech is broad, like you said, it's broad. Like, I can be doing something now, and then you meet another person also in tech, and then we can be having conversations, and I completely have no idea what you're talking about. Right. So that's how broad tech is. Now, if you want to pick a field, the first thing you have to do, the first step is to get a list of different domains in tech. Maybe, like, for example, the popular ones are like cloud, data, software engineering, front-end development, like website building and all this stuff. And then try to see just naturally, what do you like? For example, if you're someone that don't like anything that looks too complicated, like techie stuff, maybe you come from like a background where you just want to, like, you can lead, you can be a leader, you just want to organize maybe people together, team together. You might be looking into like things like project management or like product management, Scrum. Those things are actually not too technical. The only thing you just have to understand is how to put meetings together, how to organize projects, how to create timeline, communicate with people. Like, I'm not the best when it comes to like having people in like meetings and all of those project management stuff. Like, I'm someone that I would say, oh, we have a meeting, I'll set a meeting, and I will forget. I'm the host of the meeting, I'll forget. That's how bad I am. So I know better not to go into project management.
Tell me, what is the most difficult thing that you've done so far since moving here into the United States? Like your transition.
Transition for me was really more of people, because I did not grow up with a lot of people I met here. So it was, and something is you don't appreciate childhood friends until you actually have to like get into. I even feel more for people that came here like 35 and they're just like alone, like they can't really make too much friends because everyone is now married, everyone has their life to live. So that's one of the biggest challenge for me, was like finding genuine people that I didn't even know if they were friends with me because of what or maybe they actually just really like gravitated to me. And that is not, I guess everyone goes through that. So that was my biggest challenge.
So how were you able to overcome that?
I was able to overcome that by seeing what people really were after they got what they really, maybe what benefit they want to get from me. And that's to even, lead to the point that any type of affiliation you're having, of course, you need to gain something. If you're moving with like a group of people, or you're affiliating yourself with a group of people and you're not gaining anything, you should leave. And but also make sure it's sort of like as you're pointing to people, people should also point into you. So it should be reciprocal.
What are your plans in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I want to like have different applications, software, platform that I can actually sell for millions and billions of dollars.
Well, talking about financial freedom.
Yeah, right.
That's the goal. Like, you come here.
Always.
And you don't just want to remain, you want to always grow. And this is what we're going to, keep talking about, and put that confidence into people and let them know that you can be whatever you want to be anywhere in this part of the world. Just put your mind to it and be dedicated, and you're going to get there. It takes time. Nobody said it was going to be easy.
Definitely. But someone always, I saw something somewhere, they said, life is not tough, right? But you're the one that said you want to make it, so of course. So
the struggle, right?
Yeah.
So how did you manage being an African immigrant in the corporate America, like talking about accent, talking about communication, relationship with your co-workers, stuff like that. How do you get to go about all that?
I think that would creep in on you, and the reason I said that is because when I first got into corporate America, when I was getting in, I wasn't myself, so I was trying to because the first thing that comes to your head is will these people understand me, because you don't really understand them or something. So I was always trying to sound like an American. I'm not an American,
right?
But the reason I was doing that was because I was trying to fit into an environment that probably doesn't even care. Like, yo, just do your job. As long as I hear what you say, I'm good.
And that's I'm sorry to cut you short, but that's the thing that a lot of people do not understand about corporate American, like accent. Before I hired you, you saw my name. My name is Tutu.
Yeah.
So you know that I'm not from around
exactly.
here. So I believe that even for them, they understand that aspect and they don't expect you to sound like them. When you sound like them, they don't even hear what you say. But it's a very big conception about people that are actually trying to work in corporate. People believe that you have to sound a certain way for you to be accepted, but you actually miss it on that part because they don't understand that you sound like you're mumbling and then they're having problem, and that's the first cut off already. You got it.
Yep. So I would say that would eventually grow on a lot of people. So just be yourself, and don't let people pronounce your name the way they should. Don't let people butcher your name. Do not. Don't correct them. They will eventually get it. So I just have to say that.
Right. We pronounce Shevchenko and all that.
Exactly. I will not let someone butcher my last name for anything, except you give me a check. I get it, but like
because the name pronunciation sometimes, and then for me, and sometimes it sounds creepy, and then I'm like, and then you pronounce it's not that deep. It's Adetutu. But what you can call me Tutu because growing up in my house, nobody really calls me Adetutu, so just call me Tutu. You can call me Tutu. But for other names that are not even that deep, like it's not that deep. Just crazy. Pronounce it. It's silly, but there's one thing about our Nigerian name, it doesn't just go right. They like syllables that you just have to follow 1, 2, 3. Like your last name. Now pronounce it for us.
Olokunwolu.
Very easy. Speak it like that.
Easy.
And then let's keep it going. What specific certifications did you take that actually help you transition into the cloud aspect career of tech?
Well, I started off by taking the AWS Solution Architect Associates.
Wait, let's because I want Nigerians to really get it. So you were a business data analyst.
Yes.
And then right there you moved to being a big data. Was there something that you had a job before you became a big data engineer?
Before I became a big data engineer, I moved into cloud engineering.
Okay.
So there's cloud engineering and there's big data engineering in cloud, pretty much, right?
Right.
All big data engineering should be in cloud because it's a lot of data sets, so you have to do it in cloud because your computer cannot process those data sets. So now, if you think about that transition, I came from business data,
and then you were just using what
and some reporting.
Yeah, so you were probably using Excel.
Excel, something like Excel.
You probably trained yourself with their resources on YouTube.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff like that.
Excel was pretty much straighthtforward for me then. Yeah, because I was doing a lot of data. Yeah.
To that. And then
I transitioned to cloud after a certification.
When you were business data analyst, when you were using Excel, what were the reporting tools that you were using?
Oh, I was using reporting tools like Tableau, but I wasn't an expert in Tableau. I just knew Tableau and I knew how to create small reports in Tableau.
The skills when people go online, and also they can also come to your learning institute, and even online they can actually train themselves to be experts in that. So after you had that knowledge, then you went into cloud.
Exactly. So
how was that transition?
The transition just took me taking a certification, which was that certification I told you about. And then
what is the certification again?
AWS Solution Architect Associate.
So how did you do all that class yourself, or you had somebody help you?
I took this Udemy course.
Right.
It's I think Stephen Marek, that's the name. Yeah. Well, no, I didn't do Stephen Marek. I took something called A Cloud Guru.
Can you give my viewers this link so that anybody that wants
to
go to
definitely. Why not?
add the link and then
I'm definitely going to do that.
Okay.
I took one with the A Cloud Guru, but that A Cloud Guru was now, as of right now, the A Cloud Guru, I feel like most people now do like the one for the Stephen Marek guy. It's so good, and he has a way of breaking down the concept and you understand it. And then that took me about 5 weeks to actually sort of like learn. But I would say if you have to take more than 5 weeks, take your time. It's not like you have to like be. So it took me that long, and then I did the exam. I think I failed the exam at first.
Which is okay to try again.
Yeah. And then I tried it again because I did not do enough past question. That was what I figured. I knew that. So I took that.
You see how he didn't pass, he did not give up, he just found out the loopholes and then he went back and it was past question and then you fix it.
Exactly.
You always try to work on yourself to fix things and then move. Don't just go again without looking back what I didn't do right.
Or say it's not for me.
It's not for me.
Most times
it's really not for all of us who want to make money, so we just do it.
That's not always the case. It's more like you just have to like find what the problem is. And now there are a lot of past questions that out there that if you do all the past questions, I can guarantee you pass the exam. And then that is just to really like give you like the introduction to the space. Then the next thing I did was to start doing projects. And what I'm doing now is I'm putting down a list of 10 to 12 projects that you should do immediately you pass your certifications that would almost guarantee that if you get to an interview, they ask me questions about cloud, you would say it with your chest, like boom chest. So, and that's part of what I do with the Cloud Reality program. And it's free, like I said. If you want to ever join, once you pass your certification or you've learned things to a good extent, just come speak to me. Hold me by my words. I'm going to take you into the program for free.
Wow.
Because that's what I do. It shows that you're serious, right? Because once you can actually take the certification and pass, honestly, the certification is not hard. To my own, if you can do all of the past questions, I don't think it's tough.
One thing about Gabriel is motivation for me. Like you got this, you got this.
So that was like the thing I did, and then I started. I made that reflect on my resume, and also showed that I had some data background. Your own might not be data; it might be coming from the background of like help desk support. That's also relevant. No one was born into cloud, right? You have to transition into it. So that helped me for the interviews, and then I got my first opportunity.
Oh wow, great! That sounds like you had to put a lot of work to
get that. So and
Rome wasn't built in a day.
And just so you know, it's like when you start, I'm not going to lie, it's a little challenging. But after like the first 3-4 months, it just is, your life just gets better and better because of what you've learned, and and those concepts will continuously be applied. And one thing you should not get caught up in, everything you learn to pass the exam is not everything you do in your job. There are some concepts they will ask me now. I feel like if I take the exam now, I might fail it. And I'm serious and that's because I'm choosing a different path now. And it's like you're going to have to concentrate on whatever you're doing. Yours might be networking, yours might be security, yours might be data. I am in data now. I just use some of the cloud tools to get my work done. So eventually it would get easier because you would choose your path and you would love the path pretty much. And some people don't even code in cloud. They just get into cloud and all they just do is compliance, meaning what are the resources we're using, how much accounting people. You can do like a cost estimate of how much are we spending on the servers, how much are we doing this, how can we save costs. You don't have to code for that. You just have to have a sense of analytics.
Yeah, thank you for that because I have a lot of friends that like once they just hear code like this, like, okay,
no, it's not that.
So I actually want to ask you, there's so many job sites like Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor. So which one of this site did you actually, uploaded your resume that actually caught the attention of the recruiter that got you to the job that you have now?
Number one on my list is Indeed. Indeed is very, very good, I think. Then number 2 is going to be LinkedIn. I think everyone should have a LinkedIn, honestly. I wouldn't even say LinkedIn is like have it, like just have it.
I saw something on it was one time in my life that, I mean, I had my LinkedIn, but I didn't work on it, and then you just spoke to me, because I seen on your status, you like, if you're reading this and you have not worked on your LinkedIn, like, and then I messaged, I'm like, so now you're attacking me. So I had to go to my LinkedIn and fix it, so thanks for that.
Like, I tell you, the little things count, and I did not even pay attention to these things. Like, go to your LinkedIn, just spare like a good 5 hours, sit down like you're working, and work on your LinkedIn. With the pictures, I've seen people's LinkedIn pictures that are just there. Like, get a nice picture, go to a studio, take a nice professional picture, upload on LinkedIn. If you're a guy, wear suit and tie. If you're a lady, dress professionally. Put that there, summarize your experience. If you're confused on how the experiences look, try. It's like when you're not there, when you're sleeping, your LinkedIn is not sleeping. They would see that would speak for you. So try to summarize your experiences, what you've done, and arrange. If you have any certifications, upload on LinkedIn, update those things. Try to connect with people that are in your field, ask questions and all that. Actually, if you're in tech, I'll start again. Indeed, DICE, actually, my bad.
Yes,
DICE.
a lot of people don't know about DICE.
Monster Career Builder. I think you would be set with those. And then Glassdoor is really more for like, if you're looking for interview and you want to get like information about people that have interviewed in companies that you want to go, Glassdoor will actually give you those information.
Like sample interview sample questions.
Exactly,
right.
Yeah.
So talking about your stories and all that you've achieved in just 10 years, and you've really done a lot, we're proud of you, and of course the sky is the beginning, because you have a lot of things that you're planning to do, which you already told us some of it, and I wish you well in all your endeavors. But what are the information like that you wish you knew when you first arrived in the United States that would have set you up for success and minimize the mistakes that you have made in the past?
That's a very good question. And I wish, like, when I landed at JFK and my dad dropped me home, I just immediately get on my computer, go to Instagram or Facebook and start searching for people that are in tech, and start asking them questions and having conversations with them. But of course, I didn't know tech was something I was going to go into anyway. So it took me like extra how many years before, like, I think it was around 2017, 2018 was more like my breakthrough into tech. But before then, I was just going to, of course, to complete school and all that. And also another thing is I wouldn't have done my masters. I would have just chilled and then found a job and then make the job pay for my masters, because currently I have a lot of people that I work together with that they don't have a masters, they just have an associate degree, and then the job is paying for whatever degree they're trying to do, and they're taking their time to do it while working and making money. So I felt like I was just too much about school, and then at the end of the day, school was great, but I feel like I wasted time, just trying to read, and it wasn't necessary, because I could have just found, went into like that practical tech space, find people around close to me that are Nigerians, because they can relate,
right, and
they helped me. But then it took a while before I got to that. So that's one thing I always tell people. If you're new into the country, I'm not saying tech, I mean, not everybody should do tech, clearly, but even if it's maybe you want to go into law, immediately connect with people that are in that field. Ask your parents that brought you here, ask your uncle. If your uncle that brought you here is not willing to tell you stuff, go out. Like, you can even go to like a lounge or something, find people. By every means, try to connect with people, ask them questions. And those things will actually open your eyes to a lot of things. And you'll be surprised how sporadic you're going to move. Yeah.
Wow. So in short, ignorance is just not an excuse at all. So just go for it, network, find information. Information will take you to places that you never thought that you would be.
Exactly.
So basically that's it. Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate your time and everything. It's time for menu.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.